Good afternoon. I hope everybody had a good weekend. We had a pretty relaxing weekend. I wasn't fighting with a server all weekend long. We had friends come over Saturday and we grilled out. Aaron was one of them, and we had a good time. We enjoyed ourselves. I think Jen took out about a half a bottle of Bailey's Irish Cream, and I had some beers with Aaron, and it was quite enjoyable times. Spent much of Sunday dragging butt because of it, but it's all good. So anyway, I'm trying to think if there's anything the Watchman news related that I should probably pass on. I did order the connectors that I need in order to correctly hook up the solar panels together. And the other connectors, just the blank connectors that I can run to the actual, add wire to them and run to the solar charge controller, and to do that stuff properly. So a video for the updated system will be coming. So I got that ordered, and I'm sure they'll be in sometime this week. And I'll probably have there's Y cables, and then there's these connectors I ordered. So the Y cable, I think that's coming from California, so that'll probably be here like Wednesday, maybe Thursday. And the other connector should probably be here tomorrow, so because they're just coming from Illinois. Pardon me, I had to cough, so frog in my throat. I don't know where it came from. I guess I swallowed a tadpole. But anyway. So I guess really that's about it as far as like advancements with what we're kind of doing here. Everything's kind of pretty well set. I am going to probably have to pay the support team at CentOS Web Panel to go in and set up the newer PHP for me. And I need to set up what they call a PTR for reverse DNS. That will make sure that when we send out an email, that email won't get caught up in people's spam filters. We don't email people often. The thing of it is when I build this site, it will be yet another new site. Yep, you get 2 new sites in the same year, actually, this time, huh? So I will be building another new site from the ground up. And when you sign up for the site, it sends you an email in order to activate your membership on the site, and I don't want that email going into the spam filter. Also, I'm always thinking about the future and possible advancements, and we may start using the email function, the email list function, a little bit more. We'll have to see. Again, it's one of those fluid things. We're constantly changing, and I know a lot of people may think, oh well, he can't make up his mind, or he never sticks with something. Well, I want something effective. I was doing the newsletters, and I had like 7 subscriptions to the newsletter. And here I'm spending 2 to 3 hours every morning doing up that newsletter. And it just did not seem like it was worth it. It really didn't. So instead of doing that, I'd rather put my time somewhere else. And so it's always fluid. And when we find something that works and is most effective, then that's exactly what we'll stick with. I think it's pretty obvious and clear by now that we're not going anywhere. We're going to be here. And it's just a matter of how can we reach out the best way possible. So I want to speak a little bit about what I'm going to be ranting or talking. It's going to be more of a talk today. After I go through the financial stuff in the news. And I wanted to get that out front because it's kind of a spoiler warning. It's kind of a disclaimer. And so I wanted to get that out front so that way I don't ruin anybody's day or week or whatever. I am going to be speaking about parents and children and conversations they need to be having, and conversations that teenagers especially need to be having with one another. This stems from watching the second season of 13 Reasons Why. And the last episode of the second season was absolutely mind-blowing. And for those with the eyes to see, those that want to see and understand what is going on, why are we having all these students popping up in our schools and shooting people up? Well, I'll tell you what, that last episode did a hell of a job of explaining it. And it really did. But it goes back to what I said before. We have to stop putting the blame off on everything and everyone else. We have to stop blaming guns. We have to stop blaming, and I'm not saying mental illness don't play a part in it. I'm not saying that. But we need to stop blaming mental illness. We need to stop blaming this and that and the other thing. And we have to understand that our own children might be assholes. And that's what we have to look at, and that's what we have to talk about. Okay? And I believe that last episode of season 2 really showed that. We also have to consider the things otherwise in there, like how the popular kid that had raped several other kids, he went on trial and his sentencing was like 3 months probation. And I think there was three rape victims that he was charged with at that time, and he got like 3 months probation. Well, that's something that we need to work on too. How did it come to that? Well, because he had good attorneys and they knew people, and that's a real life thing. I'm telling you, that's a very, very real life thing. So anyway, I don't want to go any deeper into that now. I want to give out that spoiler warning because I am going to go deeper into what happened in that last episode when I actually start the monologue part of the monologue, if that makes any sense to you. So let's go ahead and get through the financial stuff and the news, and we'll go from there. So what are we looking at on ScrewTube? Well, we lost another subscriber, and I'm just heartbroken over this. Okay, yeah, I don't give a damn. But we are losing finances like usual. We're down to 355. Remember last week we were at like 360 something. I'm telling you, it's ScrewTube. Okay, absolutely ScrewTube. So that's where we're at on that. Steam It. We had a little bit come in today. I was able to put 3.7 Steam dollars in here. I was able to go ahead and transfer that in, and then we've got others coming. So let's see, we've got a big 12 cents in Steam dollars, and 3.45 and 6.91 and 13.81. I got 3 cents today in Steam dollars from that video I put out about YouTube silencing the masses once again. And we'll see if D-Live or Jimmy Lynn shows us some love tonight on our normal show here. The last time they did, that bumped us up to a reputation score of 50 up here, and that is absolutely incredible. Thank you so much, D-Live. That's awesome. That is awesome. AdSense. We got, I know Aaron had said something about ads today. Oh, yep, 53 cents today. That's why I refreshed it. This month so far, we're up to $1.66. We've got $11.08 in the balance. Of course, we're still waiting for YouTube to hit in there. It's not going to be a fortune, as you can tell. But I do believe there's the last super chat that's going to be entering into our balance this month. So that's probably, I'm going to throw a guess out there, maybe $16 or something, or maybe between $16, $17 that'll be added to that. So we got a long road to reach that $100 threshold. So it is what it is. Let me go ahead and get these closed here, and let's go ahead and talk about news. So this I actually tweeted out yesterday, almost 24 hours ago. Dozens injured, missing, and killed after Guatemala's volcano of fire erupts. That's, from what I understand, a pretty crazy deal there. And I wanted to make sure I did mention that today, since we weren't live yesterday. Putin signs law on countermeasures against U.S. and its allies. Yeah, I'm just going to read this. Extremely graphic video shows Brazilian teen after shark rips off his penis. That's the last time he'll say, suck my... No, I won't go there. But anyway, that's crazy. That is insane. And his mama forbade him from going swimming because I guess like last year somebody got attacked by a shark. But I guess he was going against his mother's will, against her permission, and against her knowledge. And that's why you listen to your mother's kids, because if you don't listen to your mother, your penis could pay the price. So listen to mom. She knows best. Sorry, I shouldn't make light of that, but I'm a human being. Cut me some slack here. Stormy Daniels has licensed her face and body to a sex robot company. Yeah, you heard that right. You heard that right. Now, this is the same chick, right, that was trying to bring Trump down, right? Because, you know, she's so wholesome and pure and well, we can't have a president that's that's got male hormones or anything like that. We can't have that. So now she's licensing her face and body to a sex robot company because, damn it, she's taken the higher road. Let's see. Nobel Peace Prize winner to pay for Kim Jong-un in upcoming U.S. DPRK summit. Yeah, I found that kind of an interesting headline. Estonia warns Russia it may lose St. Petersburg. I didn't read the article. I don't know if it's going to fall off in the ocean or... Nah, kidding. Sure, it's some type of stupid politics. Bill Clinton defends himself over Lewinsky scandal, calls #MeToo way overdue. In other words, he's all for everybody else being hung for it, but he's got 1,000,001 excuses as to why nobody should hang him for it. And I'm serious. I did read that article, and it's insane. And I know there's a meme going around, and people said this, and I just want to point it around too. You know, only in recent times has the hashtag been a hashtag. Okay? So back in my day, and much further than my day, they called that a pound sign. Okay? Don't you think it's kind of humorous that their whole thing is pound me too? Pound me too. Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. Sometimes I wonder if the people that are actually in charge of this stuff does this stuff on purpose just to make people look foolish. You know what I mean? And that's a pretty big thing, you know. Pound me too. Yeah, I mean that's pretty unmistakable. I don't know. We'll see. Somebody needs fired. Probably me. At least 14 killed by blast near gathering of Afghan clerics in Kabul. Blast at U.S. military base in northern Syria is part of training, says a source. Jordanian PM Malki submits resignation amid ongoing protests. Putin signs bill on countermeasures against U.S. and its allies. Enemies can't be trusted. Tehran won't yield to foreign pressure, says Iran's leader. Any U.S.-North Korea deal must include dismantlement of nuclear program, says U.S. senators. U.S. about to slap disobedient European firms with sanctions over Russian gas project. And I'm assuming that this is that Gazprom or whatever. So you see what they're doing here? I mean, doesn't Russia have the right to be able to run a business? I mean, come on. We're all cheering like crazy today, and I think it's in part of the news. We're all cheering like crazy today because the Supreme Court ruled 7-2 that the baker isn't going to be able to be sued for not baking a cake for a same-sex couple. And I know there's a lot of us out there that are cheering that on because private businesses should be allowed to make decisions like that. Most certainly they should be. That's insane. The idea that you can force a company to do business with you, right? And I'm talking about an unneeded business, right? You've got Bakery A here, right? And just because they won't bake a cake for a same-sex couple don't mean you can't go a block down the road and find 5 other bakeries that will. So go down the damn road. Why try to sue the guy? Why? Because you have an agenda, you've got a control issue, and you have to try and force your views on other people. And that isn't going to work. That isn't going to work. And that's part of why you're seeing the kids today go absolutely nuts, because they're used to being handed everything. They're used to be able to get their way, okay? And all of a sudden they can't. all of a sudden, when they're told no, they lose their minds because they don't know how to handle it. Because they absolutely don't know how to handle it. Now let's see. 5.2 quake strikes Guatemala amid deadly volcanic eruption and ash havoc. And is this crazy? Check this out. No shorts, please. We're British. Oxford school tells boys to wear skirts if it's too hot for pants. Yeah. So, no, they can't have shorts, right? They have to wear a skirt. If it's too hot for pants, their option is a skirt. They can't wear shorts. Really? What the hell? I mean, this is insane. Insane. And here's the deal with the cake. However, when KMOV, our local news affiliate, and I've seen other people reporting the same thing, like MSNBC and many others, they all get their news from the same source, the same government source, right? The same outlet of propaganda. They get all their information, their headlines and their stories and all that. And if you don't believe me, you can go on YouTube. A ton of people have made videos to where they've taken video clips from around the country to where these different news individuals are doing the exact same thing. I mean, word for word. And so I'm sure they did it across the board here. But the original headline said, rules narrowly, right? In other words, like, they just barely was able to pull off the idea that they were, a private business was going to be able to make a decision for themselves. And yet the vote was 7-2. Does that sound narrow to you? 7-2, is that a now KMOV, they had changed that. As you see, justices side with Colorado Baker on same-sex. Okay, but it did originally, and if you look on their Facebook post, it did originally say rules narrowly. And I was like, And I'm sure they got called out for that, and that's the only reason why that changed. Let's see. Illinois registration and firearm surrender bills go to Governor Rauner's desk. And just like I said, in quotes, but we don't want to confiscate anyone's firearms. We just want common sense, blah, blah, blah. No. As I've said it many, many, many times before, no. No more laws. In fact, do away with the laws. Because people are dying. And the only way people can stop dying is if people can defend themselves. Right? And for men, that means get rid of their vagina and understand that they're going to have to defend themselves. Okay? And that firearms is the way you defend yourself against firearms. We got to stop this stupid, hopeless, helpless logic in this country. And the only way we're going to do that is to be real with people, be offensive, because it's the only way it's going to fix it. Only way it's going to fix it. Let's see. And this is the video that I had put up. So let me go ahead and switch screens here and let's have a little chat. So again, I'm going to put out this warning, this spoiler warning, this disclaimer that if you're a fan of 13 Reasons Why and you have not seen the last episode or episode season, whatever that just came out, I'm going to be revealing stuff that happened in the last episode. So just as a warning, don't want anybody throwing a fit and crying because I gave away something. So I missed much of the season because I don't watch TV and I turn it on when I go to sleep. And so that means I've seen probably about the first 10 minutes of every episode. But last night I was wide awake through the entire show. In fact, I had problems sleeping after the show. And, wow, where to begin? It was just an absolute amazing show. there was a eulogy that was done by Clay, which is one of the main characters, that was heart-wrenching, absolutely heart-wrenching. The words that he had to say about Hannah were words that any one of us would dream of being heard or being said at a celebration of our life. And while that has no bearing on what I'm talking about, I just had to mention it. It was so touching. I mentioned earlier about how, and I guess I did give a spoiler out earlier before I went through the other stuff. Oh well. The gentleman, I don't know if his name is Bryce, if I'm not mistaken. The football player that was guilty of raping, at least charged with raping 3 of the women. I'm sure in reality he would have probably raped many, many more. But anyway, at his sentencing, he got 3 months. 3 months. Okay? And that is mind-blowing. That is absolutely mind-blowing. But it's kind of accurate. You know, if you watch the series and understand everything, you know, his parents have money, they got good attorneys, yada, yada, yada. You know, it's mind-blowing, but it's pretty realistic to what's happening right now in our country. And you know what? If there's one victim and there's extreme things that to say that this person really, really feels bad about what they've done, and you know, then maybe we could possibly talk. But 3 victims, he was charged with 3 victims, right? And he got 3 months, a month for each victim. That's nuts. That's absolutely nuts. So, but that's not really what I wanted to get at. And parents, we need to talk to kids. We really do. And you know, kids need to talk to each other. That's huge. That's important. Because let me tell you what happened. Let me have a sip of coffee. I look so forward to my coffee. So let me tell you what happened. Again, I missed much of the season because I watch it when I go to bed. So I don't know exactly what happened to cause the football season to be canceled and the football field to be closed. I don't know. All I know is one of the kids, and I can't remember his name off the top of my head, he apparently had done something to have caused this. And he apparently was sent off to be rehabilitated somewhere. I don't know. From what I gathered of seeing that one episode was that he was sent somewhere like a camp or something where they had woods and did camping and, you know, and apparently it helped. It really helped him. And he came back and he was feeling much better. He was doing much better. And so he rejoined his classmates in school. And one of the football players, like best friends, had stayed after class with the football player that was the main bad guy, if you want to call it that, that was charged with the rapes of the 3 girls. And you know, he was talking about this kid that had done whatever to this football field and caused the season to be canceled. And he's like, well, what do you want to do about it? And this Bryce guy, he was like, nothing. Leave it alone. You know, I'm on probation. I don't want to do nothing, you know. And he made it very clear that he didn't want involved in any problems. And again, I'm not saying that he's a great guy or defending him. I'm just kind of explaining to you what happened. So anyway, that wasn't good enough for this guy. And him and 2 other guys happened to catch this kid in a bathroom. And what they did was they, for one, beat the hell out of him, and I mean beat the hell out of him. And then he proceeded to have his friends throw him into a stall, a bathroom stall. He pulled his pants down and sexually abused him with a broomstick. Okay, and I know that's graphic. I know that's crazy. You know. And I know that's not something that happens every day in our schools. At least, God, I hope not. Okay? But we need to talk about this because sometimes words are just as bad. Humiliation is just as bad. It really is. Sometimes it don't have to be outward scars. Sometimes those inward scars are a hell of a lot worse than those outward ones. And so there was a spring fling, a dance that was coming up, and this young man decided to respond to what happened to him by these football players by arming himself, and he was going to go shoot up the school. He was going to go shoot up the dance, and very real situation, folks. Very, very real. And like I had said the time before when I had talked about parents talking to their children and stuff, folks, you really have to find out, what's the deal with your kids. Are your kids being assholes? If they are, you need to make sure you have a talk with them. Because we're living in a different world right now. We really, really are. In several aspects, not only in the victim role, but also in the role of the attacker, because there are a lot more attackers now. Everybody, not everybody, but a much larger majority of the students are hateful and just crappy with one another. Okay, usually, back in my day and beyond, it was just a handful. It was the same old handful, and it caused problems. Now it's like the majority. Everybody wants to be, the king of the mountain. And so that means a lot more stress and a lot more problems for those unpopular students. Okay, so that's one way that it's changed. It's changed in so many ways. It has nothing to do with guns, folks. Nothing to do with guns. It just doesn't. It has to do with how people are reacting, and that has to do with how much more they are getting, let's just say, abused by other students, and, how hopeless they are forced to feel because they can't do anything about it. You can't run to your teacher. That crap don't work. And if you try to punch him square in the mouth and put an end to it, well, guess who gets in trouble? The bully very rarely gets in trouble. Usually it's the student that's in the right, that righteously kicks somebody else's butt. Usually it's them that are the ones that get in trouble. And so it builds up and builds up and builds up because they can't do anything. Right? And then that switch flips in that child's mind. And they're like, well, if I'm going to get in trouble, then I'm going to make it worth my trouble. I know this mentality, folks. I was picked on. If I sat here and told you that I never daydreamed about walking into my school and doing stuff, I would be flat out lying to you. But I didn't. And we can sit there and we can debate for days on end as to why I didn't. But you know what? I wasn't the only one. A lot of students go through this. It is what it is. And the difference isn't the accessibility to guns, because guns are less accessible now than what they used to be. Believe me on that. There was a day that I can recall when you could have grabbed a shotgun off the rack of the back window of a farmer's pickup truck. So this whole crap, the guns are more accessible today, is absolute hogwash. Absolute hogwash. So instead of blaming things that have no way to be responsible for what's going on, why don't we start asking ourselves, what is going on? We might actually get somewhere. And I think a large part of it, on the victim side of it, and this covers all the students, is that this hopeless, helpless mentality, for one. And for two, I think it's I think it's this whole, what do I want to call it? It's everybody gets a trophy. Everybody's a winner. I mean, they told us that everybody's special. I mean, that was a thing when I was a kid. Everybody was special. We were all like a snowflake. We were individual and blah, 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 right? And it's like, today, it's that theory that's supercharged, right? Plus, everybody gets a trophy on top of it. Well, the thing of it is, when you sit there and lie to people, because that's what it is, it's a lie. Okay? It's a lie. Everybody doesn't win all the time. In fact, most of the time, most people lose. That's reality. So when you build up this false reality, when you tell these kind of lies, especially to youth, and they try and they try and they try and they fail, and they fail and they fail, and they feel like even more of a failure because everybody else is telling them, oh, you can be anything you want to be, they feel like even more of a failure. That puts even more pressure on them. So they're more likely to snap. I think that's the difference, really. As when I'm talking about when I was in high school and I would have bad thoughts. The reason why I didn't act on those thoughts is because I didn't snap. I didn't snap. Okay? Because although those thoughts were there, although that pressure was there, although the humiliation and the pain and the heartache from that humiliation, although it was there, it wasn't bad enough to make me snap. That's the difference. It's that snap. That's where we have to intercept this. We have to stop this before that snap. That's all I can tell you. But it's got to take people being honest with themselves. The students, the parents, the teachers, the administration. People have to stop this stupidity, this, oh, no tolerance for bullying, because it's stupid. There's gonna be bullying. So let's minimize it by letting the kid kick the hell out of the bullier. Pretty simple. It really is. And it worked well for like a long time. But we've got to change it because New Age and the psychologist says. Yeah, most psychologists have no business being in psychology. That's just a fact. Psychology isn't, something that you just read books and can do. Psychology is a gift. I can tell you that right now. You cannot read psychology in a book. Sure, you can read people's theories, but those theories don't apply well to the real world. They don't. Because people are different and people react to things differently. Psychology, depending on who you're reading a book from, is how that person thinks somebody would respond in a particular situation. That doesn't cover everybody. That covers one view. 7.5 billion people on this ball of dirt, and you've got one view, and you're going to save people's lives by using that one view. Ain't gonna happen. It's unrealistic. But you try telling that to the schools these days. I do got one other thing to say on this topic, and I want to speak directly to the children. And I know that it's normally older people that listen to this show, and we don't get a whole lot of children. But just in case, I have to say this. Kids, life doesn't begin and end in high school. It doesn't. If you're in high school and in the coming years, in 10 years, you're probably going to think very little about what happened in high school. Because you're going to be attacked with a whole different world. Now see, when I was in school, there was a lot of things that they didn't prepare us for, and even the things they tried to prepare us for, we didn't listen to. I was told, I don't know how many times, that, enjoy high school while I was there, because after we graduate high school, life's going to just fly right past us. I didn't believe that. I thought they were full of crap when they told me that. Just like you probably think I'm full of crap when I'm telling you that down the road you're not going to be looking at this stuff so much. Let me explain something. A lot of the people from high school are more civil with me today, and I think largely the reason why is because the loss of that high school mentality. Now, when I say that, understand that what I'm seeing today is even people that, a lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people that even I graduated high school with, I'm still seeing a high school mentality in. But I think that was just another part of this whole social engineering. I don't think that's the way it had always been. I think there was a big push in the social engineering right at that time that I was getting out of high school. So I do see that. However, I don't think it was like that quite so bad before. But understand this. Once you get out of there, you're going to be so focused on so many other things in your life that those kids that made fun of you in high school and all that, not going to mean near as much. Even though I know how devastating it was. I know. But you have to resist that snap. However you can do it. Just try to find something healthy to do. To resist that snap. Something healthy to look forward to. Music. I couldn't tell you how many times music saved my life. Couldn't even begin. Find something. Find something that means more to you than revenge. And if you can focus on that, we won't be reading about you in the news. Anyway, I hope my babbling made sense to some folks. I get it. I know I get it. I know I see it in my head. Sometimes it's a little hard for me to put out in words. But I'm going to go ahead and close up the monologue. I want to thank everybody that watches the monologue. I will be continuing the live show after this. But for those that just watched the monologue, again, thank you. And I'd like to say God bless you. We love you. And be one with your spirit.